Star Wars Eclipse, gameplay, trailer, story, and more. Star Wars Eclipse is already one of the most anticipated upcoming Star Wars games, with developer Quantic Dream, the studio behind narrative adventure classics like Detroit, Become Human and Heavy Rain, set to explore the High Republic era of a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars Eclipse is in early stages of development, so while it's unlikely to be a new game for 2023, it is well worth watching. Quantic Dream has opened a new studio to assist with production, with Eclipse easily becoming its most ambitious work to date. It's set to be an action-adventure game featuring multiple characters and a branching narrative, set in a Star Wars era that's barely been explored. Star Wars Eclipse promises all new characters and environments set in Star Wars High Republic era. It also marks the first Star Wars game from Quantic Dream. The Detroit, Become Human developer dropped the game's debut cinematic trailer during the Game Awards 2021, and it was stunning. While this cinematic trailer doesn't reveal any gameplay, it does paint the picture of an ominous force about to shatter a peaceful galaxy. The story details are scarce, but we do get a few hints, including the appearance of Yoda. Read on for all the latest info about Star Wars Eclipse, including what we expect to see from the gameplay and story. Unfortunately, we have no solid information about Star Wars Eclipse's release date. No new information has come from Quantic Dream or Lucasfilm Games since the initial trailer dropped. All that we know at this stage is that the game is currently in the early stages of development, according to an article on the Star Wars website. This would indicate that we're at least a couple of years away from actually getting to play the game. Rumors surrounding the game also suggest the game's development has taken a slow start. Reputable leaker Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming claimed in December 2021 that Star Wars Eclipse is believed to be around 3 to 4 years away minimum. Developer Quantic Dream is currently struggling to hire staff, possibly due to the involvement of the studio's controversial head David Cage. The company is also reportedly having issues with its existing development tools not being well suited to Eclipse. In October 2022, sources leaked to Colin Moriarty that Eclipse is not even really in production yet. He disclosed this information during an episode of his Sacred Symbols podcast, which is paywalled but was transcribed by VGC. Henderson later confirmed this leak independently in an Insider Gaming article. Henderson further states that one source believes the game will not come until 2026 at the earliest, so we have a while to go before we can finally play Eclipse. Quantic Dream tends to create interactive, narrative-driven adventure games that are light on traditional gameplay. However, the developer may branch out for Eclipse. The developer notes that Star Wars Eclipse will be an action-adventure game with multiple characters, each with its own branching possibilities. This suggests it might shake off the playable movie tag from previous Quantic Dream games. The studio might not completely switch things up, though. In classic Quantic Dream fashion, it appears that player choice will be a key component of Star Wars Eclipse. There will be several playable characters and your choices will matter, with every decision having the potential for a dramatic impact on the course of the player's story experience. Rather than fixating on one character that you build up over time, you may need to control the fate of many pieces on the proverbial board. Still, there's been some, mildly, conflicting information regarding how many players you could play as. In a leak to Sacred Symbols podcast host, which was later determined to be a controlled leak from developer Quantic Dream to gauge interest, Eclipse will have a lead character named Sarah. Sarah is a member of the Zeron, a new human-like race new to the Star Wars universe. While it is not confirmed that she will be the sole protagonist of Eclipse, this leak leads us to believe that she will be the main protagonist. Currently, we have no information about which platforms will get Star Wars Eclipse. Most likely, it will come out on PC, PS5 and Xbox Series X/S, but it seems less likely to launch on PS4 and Xbox One. At this point, we may even see a new console generation announced by the time we hear more about Star Wars Eclipse's platforms. The Star Wars Eclipse cinematic trailer from the Game Awards 2021 sets the game in the High Republic era. The High Republic period, not to be confused with the Old Republic, is set hundreds of years before the Skywalker saga, and was the golden age of the Republic and the Jedi Order. Novels, comics, and even audiobooks have already explored this era, but Eclipse will be the first video game set within this part of the Star Wars timeline. While there's no gameplay in the trailer, there is still plenty to dissect. Perhaps the biggest moment of the trailer is actually buried in the middle when we see a little green figure staring out the window of what looks like the Jedi Council chambers. A closer inspection of visual assets provided by Quantic Dream shows this is in fact Yoda standing in the council room, so we can expect at least one familiar face. We also get Jedi dueling on a bridge, alien races in seedy Outer Rim cities, and an alien race performing some form of ritual that appears to birth a sinister-looking figure. Odds would suggest that this is our first look at the game's primary antagonist. Quantic Dream has promised that Star Wars Eclipse will feature all new characters and environments in this High Republic-era game. Eclipse will take place in the Outer Rim, a somewhat lawless region of the galaxy where the Jedi and the Republic often struggle to assert control. The High Republic has been the focus of several Star Wars comic series, which have established some canon already. While Eclipse could expound on these established storylines, Quantic Dream's talk of all new characters and never-before-seen species suggests this will be an entirely new story. The cinematic trailer may show us some of these unfamiliar species. We have yet to know the origins of the game's potential antagonist, and the Onomid make an appearance as well. This species appears in the trailer wearing red robes with their faces fully covered. They debuted in the film Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and have only made a handful of brief appearances since. Additional story details leaked out in what is described as a controlled leak from developer Quantic Dream. Sacred Symbols podcast host Colin Moriarty revealed that the lead protagonist for Eclipse, codenamed Project S, is Sarah, a 30-year-old female Zeron. The Zeron are described in VGC's transcription of the episode as a human-like race new to Star Wars that hold a military and political empire in the galaxy. The Zeron form a violent, criminal empire where marriages can determine how governing units operate. Sarah is described as a true believer in this aggressive ideology, whereas her partner Zendo is much milder in temperament. At least part of Eclipse is expected to resolve around their relationship. While described as an early development at the Game Awards, reports emerged towards the end of 2021 that suggested Star Wars Eclipse is apparently at least 3 to 4 years away from launch. Quantic Dream went on to respond to the reports to reaffirm that there have been no delays since no launch date has been confirmed. There's little to go on beyond that at present, but, given Quantic Dream's past projects, we expect Star Wars Eclipse to feature on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X at a minimum, with the developer promising a game that can be experienced in many ways, and puts the destinies of multiple playable characters in your hands.